This is not juggling. This is called misdirection.
Hello, everybody. Now that I've turned my mic on, thank you so much for coming today and being a part of our live stream as we talk a little bit more about Onward and what it has to store. Thank you for those who have already started to participate in chat as you're coming in. And if you're able to live chat with us, please feel free to come on in, introduce yourselves, and we'll get started with our live discussion. It'll be a shorter one as always. I try to aim for these to be about half an hour as we continue on, and I'm really looking forward to hearing your thoughts and just about this movie, but as well as the things that we have ready for discussion today. Thank you for all those who are watching this, who aren't able to join us live today, but are maybe watching this later on in this week. Thank you very much for keeping in tune to what's happening here and what discussions come forth. Thank you so much for coming on board today. As we get started, kind of moving forward, just a reminder about Monday Movie Club and our guidelines, of course, just looking into being kind to one another, our guidelines of sharing and participating, and also continuing to be a loving and kind community to one another. And so thank you all for participating so well. I know that this movie has had some interesting feedback, especially in our Christian community, especially since it deals with things like magic, things like grief, and other aspects of it. And so thank you all for being loving and kind to one another, and I hope that continues on in our live stream here today. So to kind of start this off, my first question is always kind of my first question for the night, which is, what snack did you have while you watched this movie today? What was kind of your go-to? I watched this movie in the middle of the afternoon after my son was having some alone play time. And so this week I ate his leftover. These aren't his leftovers, but I ate leftover goldfish crackers. Today I don't have goldfish crackers. I have the PC brand penguin crackers. Because my 2-year-old son gets the, actual name brand things. So I had that while I ate. And then I'm seeing popcorn, dinner, loads of chocolate. Don't feel guilty about indulging during movie watching. That's always my thing. And then, peanut butter ice cream. That's a great one. So yeah, it's been a really good time. Thank you for sharing. If you have any recommendations of snacks that would be good for movie watching, feel free to encourage that with one another, and see where we go from there. So I just wanted to open things up and start with kind of a kind of on the nose more question in regards to this, which Onward, as we know, is very centered around the idea of the use of magic and casting spells and things along those lines. So I just wanted to kind of start us off with a brief Bible study, talk about what does the Bible say about magic use. I have a lot of various different passages there that all talk about how God views magic, sorcery, necromancy, astrology, things along those lines. And the Bible is very clear. It is prohibited to use magic. Our power, our supernatural power, needs to be assessed and attained through the triune God, Father, Son, and Holy Spirit. And we, as followers of Christ, need to aim at Christ and aim at God and his direction, and not turn to things that lead us astray from that. And so I just wanted to start off this thing by saying, yes, as Christians, we do not promote or the use of magic or the use of spells, the use of occultism, and that we acknowledge that God is a supernatural God and all power comes directly from him. I always look at the Galatians passage at the end where it talks about just the way of what being sinful is like. And there's a long list. Paul likes to deal in lists. But then at the end of there, it says, and the fruits of the Spirit are love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, self-control, the fruits of the Spirit. Um, and so, yeah, the passage in Acts that I included is, yes, Amy, the one where because they came to Christ, they burned their magic books. And so we don't need to rely on outside sources for power or for wish fulfillment, because we know all fulfillment and abundant life is found through Christ, is found through God. And so I just wanted to start off our discussion there, because I know that there is a population of Christians who don't watch films that promote or talk about magic. And that is okay. We are all unified in our diversity of what we think is appropriate to watch, what is not appropriate to watch. And so if you didn't watch this movie because of that element of it, that is fine. Movie Club is an optional and loving community, and so if something that we submit and we suggest to watching does not follow family rules, makes you uncomfortable, or is just something you're not interested in watching, there is no pressure to or obligation to watch that week. We'll be happy to have you on for the next week or to the next movie. And so thank you for engaging in the material, even if it was something that you weren't anticipating watching or something you didn't want to watch. Thank you for being engaging in what we're doing here at Movie Club and wanting to talk about that subject. But I know that this movie talks a lot more than just the use of magic. And so I wanted to open it up on live chat right now and say, what are some other themes, or what are some themes that you saw within this film? What were some themes that you have that is something that you saw in with it? Brotherly love. Thank you, Amy. It is so prevalent. I love the relationship between these two guys. It's a bit reminiscent between me and my brother, and it's really cool. Yeah. What other themes did you maybe see throughout your watching of this film? Honesty is a good one. One that I kind of and touched a bit about with the discussion questions was this idea of how faith conquers fear, and how being fearless is just having this belief in faith that you are capable of doing something. Adventure, great thing. Trust. There was a lot of trust. Either trusting in other people or the lack thereof of trusting other people and the consequences of that. It was so great to see that. One thing that really struck out to me as well was this like journey of grief. You know, I forgot to say it at the beginning. This live stream will be full with spoilers. So anyone who's not seen the film already, spoiler alert. But the loss of a father and what it means to a person and the journey that they go through that grief process is a theme that was so prevalent throughout the film. And I appreciated that all the characters in the film that had a relationship with this father figure grieved in different ways, because grief looks different to everybody. And so I appreciate that a lot. Judging a book by its cover, absolutely. I love that idea for sure. Thank you so much. We're going to move on to our next question. What are some things that can hold us back from our goals? We saw very often with Ian that that there was this fear of being accepted, this fear of different things that really held him back from doing the things he wanted to do. Like he'd always make lists and then have to cross out the lists because it didn't get done. I know I've totally had days like that. I've had friends that shared kind of that paralyzing fear to that. Judgment, absolutely. I know for myself personally, like just doing something like this and starting this off was nerve-wracking because it's the internet and you have no idea how you're being judged on the other end. And so that can definitely hold somebody back from attaining their goals. I think also just kind of a sense of overwhelm. I think is another reason why some people may feel like they can't do things, because there's so many options, or there's so much I could do, or there's so much to do to get there. I have no idea how to do that. Can be something like that. High expectations on ourselves, thinking we can never achieve our goals. Again, from Tammy. Thank you. Yeah, we tend to put ourselves in a worse predicament when we're trying to think of goals. Like, if I do this thing, it's got to be perfect the first time, which most of us can attest to, us adults can attest to. That's never how it works out. Majority of the time, the first time you do it, there's a lot of mistakes. For instance, this live stream, the first live stream didn't have music, and I went, right, opening and exiting music. It was also double the time. And so paring that down and things along those lines, we do have kind of these higher expectations of ourselves. Thank you, community, for sharing those things. That's great. Oh, yeah, so I did that. So I'm just going to share kind of my ending final thought, but I'd love to hear kind of the things that in the chat or even in comment of things that for you, Bible verses or even parables of Jesus that give you hope when you are in a journey, that help encourage you when you are on the road, in times of struggle, in times of good, in times of everything. And so I just wanted to share this passage from Philippians, Paul's letter to the Church of Philippi. And it says this: I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or living in want. I can do all things through him who gives me strength. Growing up in the Anglican Church and memorizing my Bible, I remember that verse, the verse 13 being, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, from the KJV. And I think it's so important that when we're on our own quests and doing our own things and having our own goals, to recognize that there's going to be bottomless pits and times when we need to stand up for ourselves, times that we need to trust others, times that we need to try new things. And there are times when knowing that we're not alone in what we're trying to achieve, that we have other people. I love that older brother's name. It's slipping my mind right now, about how when they were crossing the bottomless thing, trying to get to the bridge on the other side, he just cheered him on the whole time, countless and countless, of being like, I knew you can do it. I know you can do it. You're doing so great. And it's important that we live life knowing that there are other people in our corner. And I think as Christians, Barley, thank you, Deerfield. Barley is just very uniquely gifted in encouragement. He reminds me a lot of the people of the Bible who were spiritually gifted with encouragement. He just always, it felt like he always had the right thing to say for Ian and for others. And it was just really good to see encouragement used well through that character. And just knowing that there are things in our lives where we have times when we just need someone to be an encourager. And for me, this Philippians passage, in times where I feel weak or feel scared or feel like the path is too long, Philippians 4:12-13 helps kind of reground me in knowing that things are possible through Christ who strengthens me. And so I'm curious, what are Bible passages that come to mind, or verses that come to mind, or even parables of stories that when you're in hardship, what encourages you? What in God's word encourages you? And I'd love to end tonight there, about sharing pieces of encouragement for one another, especially in this very unique season of being at home a lot. And for those who are maybe watching this not live, please feel free in the comments below, put a Bible verse, a parable, something within scripture that keeps you going when things in your quest, in your journey get rough. So I'm just going to read some of the ones coming through chat as they're coming in, as people still think. Even if you see yours written down, it'd be cool to get it affirmed by writing it out again. Psalm 23, for me specifically, verse 4 is my baptismal passage. It's the thing that got me through most of my life. Passage about the cord and the 3 strands. Yeah. Isaiah 40:29, he gives power to the weak and strength to the powerless. Such an amazing verse. Thank you, Nancy, for that. I'll just wait a few more minutes. Some people might be thinking, trying to get exact verses down. It could be a lot of typing. So feel free to include yours if you have one. And if not, maybe there's something that someone in chat or said here, maybe this Philippians passage speaks to you at this moment, as we've kind of been enduring this time of social distancing together as a community, as a world, really, that this journey can feel long some days. And so just an encouraging word that Christ in God provides us the power to continue on and to continue trucking forward, even when we don't know where that could lead. Okay, well, if things come in, feel free to continue to include them in chat and continue to see where everything is going. Please continue the conversations in your homes. If things come to you later, share with them with those who are watching now. Add comments to this video so that we can all kind of share in that encouragement together. As I kind of go through all my points here, I'm just going to I'm going to keep this passage up. I'm not going to transition to the big talking head of me. So next week's movie, I'm happy to announce, is more of an action film. It's National Treasure. So Nicolas Cage as Ben Gates on a journey to finding treasure and thwarting evil from getting their hands on treasure. It's a great film. It is a higher rating. It's a PG film. Just so people are aware that because it is action, there are some more frightening scenes in it, some more frightening details added into it. There is more use of language in this film. So I've been using as one of my vetting processes, Focus on the Families Plugged In and Common Sense Media. And they actually, I have a picture of it here on my phone so I can tell you exactly. They actually break down how many instances of language, what kind of violence things, what kind of other aspects, negative elements. So that way, if you are a person who are prone to being a bit more frightened, I know for myself, when I was a preteen, I couldn't take much graphic. I was a G rating movie kind of a gal. So again, like I said at the beginning, if this is a film that does not follow within family rules, is something that you're uncomfortable with or just not interested in, we love you, we appreciate you, and you are more than happy to skip it. You are more than happy to opt out, and we will catch you on the next week. Some other things mentioned in Plugged In is that some viewers may cringe at some of the graphics. Most families won't consider this a reason to avoid the film, but it's definitely worth discussing after. So it is not on Netflix. It is on Disney Plus. It is available through, I have it. I had figured all this out and then didn't write it down. So it's streaming on Disney Plus, iTunes, YouTube Movies, and Cineplex all have it available for rental for under $5. So it is available to rent. Amazon Prime, unfortunately not. I looked and I did not see it there. But it is available on Disney Plus if you have a subscription there. If not, it's a fairly popular film, so I would say anyone who's in a larger area or have access to library in a larger area like the Toronto Public Library System, take a look at Hulu and Canopy and all those things. All you need is a library card, and the whole access to videos and ebooks and other aspects are available to you. So take a look at that. The movie again is National Treasure. It's a Disney film, and it is a more action-based film. I'm trying to get a wide variety of genres accessible through the through Movie Club. So with that said, if you have a suggestion for Movie Club, feel free to suggest it, and myself and others will look into it and vet it and see if it's something that we can have a conversation about. So feel free down in the comments if you have a suggestion for Movie Club of what we should watch next or soon to come. Please suggest away. We'd be more than happy to things right now. Great perk from Commander KV. You can get a temporary library card right now, so hurry. It's really great. I know also people who are on the West End in Peel, there is something going on with the Brampton library services there, so please feel free to check that out as well. I don't know all the details about that, but feel free to check that out as well. Thank you guys again so much for tonight and participating, loving one another and being fully participants in that. I look forward to seeing you all next week on Monday at 7:30. I will comment of this video, the discussion questions for National Treasure, as well as on Instagram and Facebook following the hashtag of Monday Movie Club. You can find the images and questions there as well. Hope you're all having a wonderful time. Stay connected, and we'll see you next Monday. Take care, everybody.